Hello and welcome if you're new to my channel, and if you're a subscriber, a warm welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be recommending some of the best kitchen utensil brands as part of the home series, which I kickstarted a few months ago. In this particular series, I am going to be breaking down each room in a house and recommending some of the best brands for each item that goes in a respective room. So for example, the kitchen, I've recommended some of the best brands for your dinnerware, cutlery, pots and pans, stemware, tea towels, and now I'm focused on kitchen utensils. So think of the items you typically use to prepare food for cooking. So your ladles, spatula, tong, grater, colander, and so forth. I'm Anesu Sagonda, and I produce educational luxury content for anyone after the finer things. So whether you're somebody who's young and starting out and wanting to reap the benefits of buying quality from the get-go, or you're someone who's new to money and wanting to learn how to navigate the terrain, or you're into luxury but you want to focus more on the brands that are under the radar and heavily weighted on quality, then my content is very much geared towards you. There are a number of kitchen utensil brands that I would like to recommend. Brands I know from personal experience that I always recommend, and I've had nothing but really good feedback in terms of the quality and the performance of the utensils. The first two I'm going to talk about in tandem, and they're the type of brands I would recommend when you're looking for what I call your core utensils. So think of, for example, your slotted turner, your pasta server, your soup ladle, your serving spoon, the core pieces you typically use on a day-to-day basis all the time when you're cooking. Two brands. The first brand I mentioned in my home series introductory video. It is Rosle, a German brand. I'm going to attach that video above. And the second brand, which is my mid-tier, a Canadian brand called Cuisipro. Rosle is the very best when it comes to kitchen utensils. There isn't any other brand as good or comes near to Rosle. They have the market down pat. Their products are phenomenal in terms of the quality, in terms of performance, and also durability. They use the very best quality stainless steel, 1810, which I mentioned in my cutlery video. I'm going to attach that above. And I just talked through what you need to consider when you're looking at stainless steel for quality and a product that's going to last and not rust and maintain its shine. But I also like Rosle for the fact that they are focused on just utensils. Of all the brands I'm going to talk about, Rosle is the only one focused on utensils. The rest do a number of kitchen utensils. You can kit out your entire kitchen from one brand, but Rosle is just your core cooking items that I mentioned earlier, your colanders, your graters, your whisks, your tongs, those kind of functional things you need for cooking. And what I really like about them is the fact that Rosle, as I said, is focused on utensils, but what it means when you have a company that just focuses on one thing is they excel at it. They spend a lot of money, specifically Rosle, they've pumped a lot into their research and development to ensure that they produce products in terms of the optimum shape, to optimize on efficiency, on functionality. When it comes to very well made products, Rosle is the best. They're the heaviest, they're the most robust. With a Rosle utensil, you physically cannot bend the item or dent it. You literally need a truck to run over the item if you want to destroy it, but otherwise it's bulletproof. It's a potential heirloom. The quality is that good that you can use it, pass it on to your children, and then pass it on to your children's children. It's just entirely up to somebody who's now tired of maybe the look, the aesthetic, and they chuck it out. But in terms of quality, performance, longevity, you cannot beat Rosle. You get what you pay for. They're eye-wateringly expensive. You're looking at no less than about £20 per item, going right up to about £50-55 for your most expensive. So for example, a grater is typically £50, but it's going to be a grater with incredibly sharp blades, protective cover, but those blades don't dull over the years. They maintain their sharpness, and they have a good number of different grating variations for you depending on what you're cooking. My next recommendation is Cuisipro. Cuisipro is very similar in terms of the aesthetic, the look to Rosle, but it's half the weight. When you hold, for example, a whisk from Cuisipro Rosle, you notice the difference straight away in terms of the quality. Rosle is literally double the weight of a Cuisipro item. Cuisipro is a quarter, if not half, the price of its Rosle counterpart. Prices typically start from about just under £10 and go up to about £30 for your most expensive item. But what you'll find with Cuisipro is they do use plastic with some of their utensils. And I know there are some people who just don't like plastic. I personally don't like plastic because when it comes to longevity, at some point that plastic is going to split, it's going to tear, it's going to crack, something potentially will happen to it. But with Rosle, it is what you see is what you get. You have nothing extra, nothing that runs the risk of being damaged. It's a utensil for life, literally. My next recommendation is an Australian brand called Dreamfarm, and Dreamfarm is legendary for its quirky utensils. They're quirky in terms of the look, but also quirky in terms of the name. So think of the schmood, which is a smooth potato masher, very different to your conventional potato masher with the holes in it. You have the coils that you press down on. They also have the Tropula, an award-winning item, which doubles up as a spatula, but you can also use it to chop if you use enough force and you turn it on its side. You also have the spoon, you have the clongs, you also have a really funky pizza cutter that's like a pair of scissors, typically priced from just under £10 going up to about 25, maximum £30 depending on the item. But I really like Dreamfarm items because they're quirky in terms of just the look, the name, but they are highly functional items that last a long time. They're very well made, so they're not gimmicky in any way. They look funky and quirky, but they perform very well and they're well made. I think they're great in terms of the color option. They're made from your non-stick nylon, your silicone, and they're very good items you can use to either introduce children to cooking, to encourage them to help cooking, because that quirkiness becomes a talking point. It makes it fun, it makes it exciting. It's something that encourages children to cook. So I always say, if you have young children who are aspiring or possibly don't enjoy cooking, you need something to coax them, Dreamfarm is fantastic. My next recommendation is a Swiss brand called Kuhn Rikon. And why I like Kuhn Rikon is you're buying into a number of things. It's entirely Swiss made. So you're buying into the Swiss design, you're buying into Swiss quality. They use very high quality raw materials. The manufacturing processes ultimately produce very high quality, high functioning products. Won numerous awards for their designs, but you're buying a quality product made in Switzerland. You're buying into the Swiss-German precision and design. They produce everything you need for the kitchen. You could potentially kit your entire kitchen from Kuhn Rikon. But what I would like to recommend more than anything is their pressure cookers. Having grown up in Southern Africa, oxtail was part of my diet, and a pressure cooker was a pot I grew up that was synonymous with a kitchen. Whoever's house I went to, I always knew I'd see a pressure cooker. And they have a range called the Duromatic. Very well known, highly respected, highly performing pressure cooker. Great quality, amazing safety features, and it's very easy to use. So Duromatic from Kuhn Rikon. My next recommendation is another American brand that I mentioned in the home series video, which I touched above earlier. It's Epicurean. And I really like Epicurean for two things: their boards and also their cooking utensils, so your spatulas and spoons and so forth. They use your natural fibers, and natural fibers are what I always encourage: natural fibers, bamboo, your wood, particularly when you have expensive knives. So think of brands at the top end, Wusthof and Zwilling. I'm going to attach the video above. And then even more expensive than those, better qualities, your Japanese knives. Japanese knives are incredibly fragile, and if you use a hard surface, so think of either a marble or a glass board, chopping board, it potentially can crack, chip, break the blade, particularly your Japanese knives. Or with, for example, Wusthof or Zwilling, your more expensive knives, it can warp or bend them over time. So I always recommend your natural fiber, your wood, or your bamboo boards. And Epicurean do a fantastic array of your natural fiber boards. And what I like about them is they come in different sizes, but they have the juice grooves around the edges. So the different sizes, you can chop something on a surface and then you take it across to the pot. The juice grooves ensure the source of the juice from whatever you may have cut or are preparing doesn't run over the edge of the chopping board, but it just stays within the grooves and you can tip it into the pot. Come in different sizes, 2 different colors. You have a dark gray and then a natural wood color, and the same natural fiber that they use for their cooking utensils, whether it's the spatulas or your cooking spoons and so forth. Great for your non-stick pots. Scanpan, the best range for your non-stick. I'm going to attach the video where I talk about pots and pans above. Scanpan mentioned that you can use stainless steel utensils, but I find from experience they do scuff the pot, and if you're spending almost £1,000 on a set of pots, you want to be able to maintain the longevity, not ruin or scuff or do anything adverse to your pots. And I would always recommend your natural fiber cooking utensils. Epicurean is one of the best choices. My next recommendation, more for your boards, your chopping boards, your trays, anything wood, your big heavy butcher style boards. Great brand, American brand called Boss Block. You can use them for meat, you can use them for bread, and then every so often you wash them, you slip them across the counter to the sink, and they're boards you typically just have in place on your surface in the kitchen. Then a great British brand I'd like to recommend for anything wood, a great professional woodworking brand focused on the entire process, so from tree through to the end product. It's a company called Norfolk Oak. Produce very high quality wood products, whether it's trays, it is chopping boards, it is the actual kitchen, so the cabinets, the counters. They produce very good quality, high performing products. Also do custom made trays and also your boards. So depending on what you would like in terms of weight, in terms of size, in terms of the wood, you're spoiled for choice, and they will be able to produce something to your exact specifications. The other thing I particularly like about Norfolk Oak, and I guess it's an indicator of quality, is they partner with Miele. And when you have a brand that partners, a kitchen design company that partners with Miele or Gaggenau, that in itself is a sign of quality. There are a number of stores I'd like to recommend that are fantastic when it comes to your kitchen utensils. Stores I've mentioned in the past, you have your high-end department stores, you have Harrods, you have Selfridges, you have John Lewis for your mid-tier. You also have your specific kitchen design stores. So think of Divertimenti in Knightsbridge. You have Borough Kitchens that have a number of branches in the United Kingdom. All the stores I've mentioned, as well as the brands I've mentioned, ship globally. So wherever you are, they'll be able to get products to you. But I've given you a diverse selection of brands, from your stainless steel utensils, top end of the market, Rosle. You have a very good, competent mid-tier brand, Cuisipro, Dreamfarm. Great colors, great way to introduce children to cooking, but just quirky, fun utensils for adults as well. You have Epicurean, Boss Block, and Norfolk Oak. Amongst all those brands, I'm confident they cover everything you typically will need for your kitchen utensils. If there's anything I've missed out, as always, let me know in the comments down below. But do share this video with somebody who may need a nudge in terms of just recommendations for kitchen brands, other kitchen products. Do like if it was of use to you, but as always, do subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.